I'm Valentina Isis, the goddess of astrology, and welcome to this episode of Love and Relationships for the sign of Libra. Now, this works if you have your sun, moon, or ascendant in the sign of Libra, or your Venus or Mars in the sign of Libra. Now, what I'm going to be talking about in this video is, how does Libra love? What can you expect out of your relationship with your Libra lover? How can you make your Libra fall madly in love with you? Or what are the fancies in a Libra when it comes to relationships? What are they wanting in love? So let's figure it out and let's find out what we can expect out of love when it comes to dealing with a Libra. Okay, so first we're going to start with some traits of the Libra sign and what is it that they naturally are. So Libras are naturally seductive. They are very seductive. They are all about harmony. You can always see a Libra to be very classy. They're very stylish. They love anything that has to do with beauty and clothing, and they're like the perfect fashion bloggers. They're great at these things because they're ruled by the planet Venus, and Venus is all about harmony. Venus is all about aesthetic, beauty, things that are pretty. So Libras are very, very much about like their looks and their classiness, that they're looking good, that they're looking sharp. They naturally have these tendencies. Also, they're very sensual. They're very attractive because they're from the planet of love. They're very self-indulgent. Venus naturally rules sugar. So they do love to self-indulge in the pleasures of life. They love these things. Very artistic. They do have a flair for artistry. They have a flair for seeing what's beautiful, seeing what's aesthetically pleasing. Very sophisticated. They like to look very sophisticated. They're very sociable because they're almost like the PR of the zodiac. So they're very much about like, okay, so who are we going to meet? Are we going to be seen? Where are we going to be seen? Where is the social gathering happening? How are we going to be interacting socially? Let me show you my friend. Let me meet you. So these are natural tendencies that the Libra has. Also, since they're very sociable, they can be very sensitive. They're very adaptable to other people. They can really learn how to be in one-on-one conversations. They're very good at these things. They know how to please the other person very well. They can be a little bit melancholic and sensitive, definitely. And they can be procrastinating a little bit because they do love to indulge. So sometimes they procrastinate things. They leave it to the last minute. They don't necessarily want to be working too hard or too tough. They like to be having things gentle and nice. I mean, now that doesn't mean that they can't work hard and tough. Of course they can. But they prefer things to be smooth and sailing, nothing rough, nothing vulgar. They just like it to be pretty and nice. They could be a little bit indecisive, of course. They're an air sign and they're the scales, so they're always kind of measuring like, okay, I should do this one or should I do this one or maybe this one. And since they naturally represent the 7th house of relationships, this means that Libras really get to know their deeper self through other people. So that's what they're so sociable. That's what they're so much about the relationships. That's what they're so much about other people, because they can learn how to be through others. How are they through others? How do I feel with this person? How do they make me feel? What can I learn from this person? They're very adaptive because of this. They can adapt to people very, very well. And they're somewhat paradoxical because, like I said, they just have this paradoxical. Sometimes Libras also play the devil's advocate because they can always see the other side of the story. And they're always, trying to balance out. They're not biased. They're not trying to look for the biasness. They're trying to look for the neutral part. So you can always be talking to your Libra friend and they could always be playing the devil's advocate by showing you the other side of the story and showing you that maybe you are not, you're not perfect and you might think things are wrong or right, but in reality you haven't seen the other side of the story. So they take a lot into account the other side of the story. This is why they can do great at law enforcement or being some sort of judge or anything like that. They can do very good at this because they can really calibrate the two sides of the story. They're cooperative. They like to cooperate, but at the same time, They could be argumentative and manipulative because there's so much about the other person and they want to get their needs met through others. They can fall into the tendencies to want to manipulate others very easily, and they know how to do this. They're very rational. They could be detached because they're still an air sign. So air energy is not necessarily so engulfing. They're very detached and they can detach themselves intellectually. They are cool. They're team worker. They like to work in teams. They like to be of help with others. And they could have multiple relationships because of this. They just love relationships. They love relating. They love to have that one-on-one connection. Not so much like a group of people, but more of like this interaction between you and I. This is kind of cool. Like it's only us, this like private session. They really love those things, to get to know you, and then they get to know themselves through you. They're a little bit narcissistic, of course, because they love the beauty of things. So they could be watching themselves a lot in the mirror. They want to look good. They want to feel good. They're like the perfect models. They're very much like easily a models of the zodiac, because they know how to be fashionably classy. They know how to dress nice. They know how to, pose and be posed. And because of this, and they're a little narcissistic, so they can also be very easily a model. But at the same time, they're very diplomatic, okay? They don't like to take one side of the situation. They always like to be level. They're always looking for this balance, and they're always looking for this neutral part of themselves. So in relationships, Libras are naturally the lovers of the zodiac. Libras are naturally the lovers of the zodiac. They naturally love to love. They love the idea of love. They're in love with love. So they fall in and out of love with the idea of love all the time. And they could have a lot of restlessness of wanting to be in a relationship. Because, like I said, they definitely shine in relationships, and they definitely feel like, okay, now I'm getting to really know myself through this relationship, through this person. And they're really the ones that truly believe in the power of love and the power of partnerships. Because of this, they so genuinely believe in the power of love and the power of relationships that they get married early in life, and they could end up with more than one marriage. Eventually, they can divorce again and have another marriage. But they truly, truly believe in the power of love. They really love the energy of love. They really love the energy of being in a relationship. And when they're not in a relationship, they're just looking to be in a relationship. This is just kind of how their life is. They really love this. And relationship practically runs, their relationship runs in cycles. There's like a relationship, and they're falling in love, and then another cycle of relationship, and then another cycle of relationship. So the relationships really fall in a lot of cycles. It's very cycles. So they go from a very high and lows in the relationships. Okay, there's very pronounced highs and very pronounced lows in relationships, because they're so giving to love. They're so giving to love. Between emotionally and restraint. Okay, because the thing is that they're the seventh sign, and they're actually the balance between the restrictive, prudent Virgo energy and the super sexual, intense, intimate energy of the Scorpio. So they're constantly trying to balance out these two energies. They're in between these two signs. And they're practically the half point of the whole zodiac wheel. So that's what they're all about, balance. That's what they're always constantly trying to balance out their relationships. And in relationships, one of the most important things for Libras is equality. That there's equality in the relationship, that there's a balance in the relationship, that it's not one serving the other, and the other one not being served. Like, no, they want balance in relationships. This is really what they're looking for. Equality and fairness is something very important to them in relationships. They're extremely aloof or sexually inviting. Okay, so because of that, they either can be completely aloof and none of that, or they can be very sexually inviting. And because of this, a lot of times Libras tend to mix friendships and romantic love. They can't seem to find like the difference between those two. So Libras can fall in love with their friends very easily. Like if they start to feel like a sort of connection, they're like, oh my God, I'm gonna fall in love. Like they're definitely the ones to fall in love at first sight. You know, they're just like, they're just easily led by love. They're just easily, you know, Cupid's arrow easily just always finds them. So they can have these really highs and these really lows, accentuated in the cycles of their relationships. And they're always constantly driven to find the ideal union. Okay, this is just a part of their life. This is just really who they are. I mean, they rule the seventh house of relationships and partnerships. There's so much energy involved in their relationships. But one thing I got to tell you, you can always count on your Libra lover to completely always put the relationship first. Okay, Libras will always put their relationship first. They are not selfish at all in relationships. And let's say, you know, you're like, oh baby, you know, I gotta do this and I gotta do that. They will accommodate their whole schedule according to you. Because to them, the most important thing is that I'm gonna be there for the relationship. I'm not gonna miss this out, you know. Even if they have their own job and everything, their relationship really comes first and foremost. So they always try to accommodate themselves their best to their lover, and they're an air sign, so they're very adaptable to others. They're very adaptable to others. So they're really looking for that ideal union that it will be in marriage. It's to find a great provider, or to be a great provider as a male, and also to find the soulmate is their goal. So they want a provider, they want to feel secure, but at the same time, they want to be madly in love with them, okay? So these are the people that would have done very badly in an arranged marriage, okay? Libras would have not loved this. Like, they love to feel like, I'm in love with this person, I'm very deeply in love, very deeply committed, it's my soulmate, my twin flame, and we're going to get married, and we're going to balance out everything, and it's going to be, you know, give us security. So they're really looking for like the perfect union that's to them. So Libras are the best dressed. They definitely have lots of class. They are very classy people who dress very classy. They're very classy with their manners because they're very sociable. They know very well how to have the social etiquette in the world. They know how to work this very well. So they're very classy, and they play three different parts. Okay, Libras usually play three different parts. The first one is the diplomat. So they know exactly how to balance out a situation. They usually play the mediators in their families. They're the ones that can really find a middle point of compromise between two parties. They are very good at this. So they're very much the diplomat. They're the masters at not losing or winning. Okay, they're the masters at doing this. They're the masters at manipulating the situation, bringing diplomacy, and finding a middle ground where nobody's the loser and nobody's the winner, but everybody stays happy and everybody gets a fair share. So remember, Libras, don't ever use your manipulation to make people go against their wishes, okay? Because you can do this. You have the ability to manipulate situations and to help people see the other side of the story, the other side. That's why this is the devil's advocate, so they can relate, and therefore they can have compassion, and therefore they can find a middle ground. But don't ever use your ability to manipulate situations to make people go against their wishes, okay? And you have to constantly always be honest, okay? The more honest you are, the better. Do not manipulate the situation on your favor, okay? Sometimes Libras love relationships so much that they can find themselves in many relationships at once. Okay, and when they're not in a relationship, they're desperate looking for a relationship. This is just their thing. Now, the second role that they play is the aloofness. They play the aloof character, where they are looking for somebody who is their parent and their mother at the same time, nurturing, that they're going to nurture them. And put them on a pedestal and nurture them, but be detached. So they kind of have like a situation where they're in and out, okay? And this is where it takes us to the where they want to be very close, but they don't want to be clingy, where they want somebody to love them, but they don't want to be hugged and take their freedom away, where they want to have everything in one, you know, that my guy is my parent, my mother, and he nurtures me and he gives me, and the same thing for the guy. Now, for the third type of situation that they make is the tough and fragile energy that they can display. They kind of display this paradoxical energy, Libras do. So they shift often from fears of loneliness and then jump from relationship to relationship. They have a lot of fear of being lonely because remember, Libras are able to see themselves and really get to know their true selves through other people, through their relationships. So when they have no relationships, it's almost like they're like, who am I? You know, they don't know how to find that own independent energy on their own. And often mistakes friendships for lovers. And these two sides of the tough and the fragile go from like the eager partner who wants to please, who wants to be serviceable to her partner, and then they naturally take on this subordinate role. This subordinate role where they're constantly giving, they're constantly being flexible for the other person, they're constantly serving the other person. And then their other side, their tough selves, will get aggravated and have resentment towards this subordinate nature. And then they become tough and they become manipulative, argumentative, and hostile. So try to help find balance, okay? That is the key in this situation when it comes to a relationship with a Libra. They want balance. They want to feel that you, being their lover, is looking for balance as well. That you're not looking to take advantage of them. That you're not looking to be one-sided in their relationship, okay? This is, if you are focused helping your Libra find that balance, that the relationship is equal, that, you know, they're being submissive because sometimes you are being submissive to them, then Libra will be very happy. Libra will always be a person that will show you immense love, that will show you immense care and immense romance in your life, all right? So you're expected to be with somebody that will put the relationship first and foremost, and that is their world. That is their most important thing. That if a Libra in their lifetime gets to create a successful relationship, that is the greatest success that they can possibly make in their life. So you're dealing with somebody who's very loving and very caring and who will always put their relationship first. But just remember that if the balance gets out of whack, you start seeing the paradoxical sides of Libra. All right, guys? Alrighty, guys, I hope that this was of help to you, for you to understand yourself a little bit better and for you to understand better your loved one who is a Libra. I really appreciate you guys being here. And remember, this is just a general reading. If you want to get to know your lover a little bit deeper, you can always make an appointment with me in the link below, and we can create a little romance relationship compatibility reading for you. And that way you can really learn what kind of lover are you looking for, how is your lover, and what kind of compatibility do you have. So let me know if you're interested in that. You can always DM me, or you can always message me at my website in the link below. All right, Libra, I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here, and stay tuned for the next episodes. I'll be seeing you.